Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Tuesday Talks with Darlene. What I want to talk about today is spiritual bypassing in business. Yes, there's such a thing. Before we get started, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it because it helps get the message out there. Now, let's think about this. There's a version of spirituality in business that sounds elevated. It talks about trust, alignment, divine timing, even energetics. And all of that can actually be real, and it is real. But sometimes that language becomes a shield. It becomes a mask, not to elevate you, but to protect you from something uncomfortable. And today I'm going to talk about spirituality, that as well, spiritual bypassing in business. Not avoidance alone, because that's something different as well, but the subtle way we use the spiritual concepts to avoid what requires courage, ownership of our own stuff, grounding, and structure. So just take a deep breath, because I'm just getting the feeling that people are going, what the heck? And that's okay, because it's not something I've actually seen people talk about. And as you know me, I talk about raw and real. And if it's something that's affected me, then it's probably something that it's affected you. And yes, I did actually do this in business. It's part of what I did. Things like saying, I trust the universe while avoiding a necessary decision or conversation and calling that delay alignment instead of fear. Yes, we trust the universe. I say it all the time. I trust the universe. The universe has my back. That doesn't stop me from making decisions and taking action, though. If that is happening, it is fear. Labeling something not aligned when what's actually present is fear of visibility or rejection or expansion or even accountability. What are you being accountable to? Refusing structure, financial tracking, or strategy because it feels too corporate, as if the discipline lowers your conscious. And one of the biggest ones I've seen is where it's talking about structure. I talk about structure all the time, and people go, oh, but I'm this and I'm that, labels, so I can't do structure. It just doesn't suit me. Well, guess what? Everything in life is structure. Your day is a structure, whether it's organized or not, it is a structure. Everything is a structure. You get in your car to go somewhere, there's a structure to that. Business has a structure. When you embrace that, guess what happens? Business starts moving along better. So embrace the fact that everything is structure. You might use phrases like everything happens for a reason to avoid examining the poor execution, unclear messaging, or even avoiding mistakes. So yes, everything happens for a reason, and the reason is the fact that maybe your messaging is wrong, or you didn't do the launching, maybe there was things missing in the launch, things like that. Still happens for a reason, but guess what? The reason was you. Yes, that might hurt. I'm responsible for me and my business. Me, and I take responsibility. You might be suppressing frustration, jealousy, burnout, or disappointment because you believe a spiritual person shouldn't feel that way at all. No, I shouldn't feel like this. And spiritual bypassing sounds wise. That's why it's hard to catch. And that's why I'm talking about it today. The key difference is this. Bypassing doesn't remove discomfort. It spiritualizes it, so you don't have to feel or address it. Yep. Why do we do it though? That's the thing. Why do we do these kind of things? Well, it could protect us from confronting possible failure. Now, I don't believe there's such a thing as failure because that happened, maybe it didn't go so well, then we look at it. If something wasn't meant to be, we don't have to evaluate our execution or refine our strategy because it protects us. It protects our identity. If we see ourselves as intuitive, evolved, or deeply conscious, admitting insecurity or missteps can feel destabilizing. Can't it? It allows us to transcend emotions instead of processing them. Calling something low vibe feels cleaner than saying, I'm hurt, I'm angry, or I'm scared. We need to process the emotions because if you don't process them, and I know from experience, we keep, they keep, it's like a cup. When you keep adding things to it, guess what? Something's going to have to happen, like a volcano. It's going to explode. So we need to process our emotions. And it creates emotional relief. Rising above something feels powerful in the short term, even if it delays real growth. And bypassing is often an unconscious attempt to stay intact emotionally. And it's okay. Now you're aware of it. But suppressing discomfort doesn't integrate it, it buries it, as I said. And buried emotions resurface in other ways. As I said, I've experienced all that and it wasn't pleasant at all for me or people around me. Now, what do we think grounded spiritual practice in business looks like? Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you that. Trusting intuition while still checking the data. Energetics and evidence are not the enemies. They actually inform one another. It's important. Look at your numbers honestly instead of explaining them away with meaning. Sometimes the issue isn't energy, it's messaging, pricing, or the execution. Pretty cool, isn't it? I love all this. Like, that's why I'm so adamant about this stuff and talk about it. Look at your numbers honestly. Now, that's why I've repeated it for a reason. I actually did an episode on this, and I will actually link the episode in here because I want you to look at your numbers honestly. Have a conversation with them, have a relationship with them, and having direct conversations instead of hinting at energy shifts. If something is off, address it clearly and cleanly. Now, for the last few weeks, my sleep has been terrible. And there's lots of reasons for it. And I'm processing things going through. It is also, there is huge energies going on at the moment. And I mean huge. They're affecting me. Now, I'm not bypassing any of that. I'm tuning into it. And I'm ensuring that what is mine stays mine and what isn't, I send it to the angels for their support. I never send it back to the person because I feel that's wrong. I just feel that wrong. Now, allowing uncomfortable emotions without labeling them as spiritually regressive. So, anger, jealousy, disappointment, and fear are human experiences, not signs of failure. There's many people out there that go, oh, your anger and your jealousy is so bad. Well, no, until it gets to a point where it actually affects, yourself physically, emotionally, and others, then it's a problem. And that's what's, you need to deal with. And that's where taking responsibility for yourself, for your emotions, for the results, rather than outsourcing everything to destiny. Oh, it's all meant to be. It's all destiny. Alignment supports action, it doesn't replace it. And holding intuition and discipline at the same time. Inner guidance without follow through is avoidance. Structure without awareness becomes rigid. Integration requires both. And spiritual depth doesn't float above reality. It just doesn't float above reality. It stays embodied inside it. It stays embodied inside of us. And this is where discernment becomes essential because the line between alignment and avoidance can be subtle. So I want to give you some things to actually look at and do some self-check without self-judgment. So these are just a few things for you. Ask, am I using spiritual language to avoid a hard feeling or a hard task? I want you to strip the language away and look at the core issue. Now, I'm doing some study at the moment, and there's questions in assignments, and they use what's called filler words because we want to make a sentence. So let's put some filler words in there. That is what the spiritual language can do. It can be filler words because you're avoiding something. So strip that language away and look at the core issue. Notice your body. True alignment feels steady, even if it stretches you. Bypassing often feels like immediate relief or escape. That's not the way it's meant to be. Not the way it's meant to be at all. And I want you to replace the question, is this aligned with what emotion am I trying not to feel? Now, both are good. Is this aligned? You can start with that and then you can go, okay, let's tune into the body. What emotion am I trying not to feel? So both can be good. Sometimes, is this aligned? Is spiritual bypassing? Is this aligned? Oh, great. Yep, no worries. And you'll just move on. Still look at the emotions. If you feel it's aligned, still look at the emotions because you never know what's going on. That shift, the shift of asking that or replacing that question, actually reveals whether you're processing or suppressing. And check whether you are grounded. Are you addressing practical realities, finances, boundaries, communication, or are you staying in abstraction? You're being, or even distracted. What is happening? And I want you to be aware that self-awareness here isn't about shaming yourself. So please let those thoughts go. Don't shame yourself. It's about strengthening your integrity and emotional capacity. Spirituality in business is powerful. It really is. It's so powerful. It sharpens intuition. It deepens our resilience. It expands our perspective. I love my intuition with a passion. Intuition is not meant to help you transcend your humanity, though. You are human. It is meant to deepen your capacity to engage with it. If your spiritual framework is helping you feel your emotions, take responsibility, set boundaries, and refine your strategy, then it's serving you. Yet, if it's helping you avoid discomfort while calling it consciousness, it may be time to look more closely. Spirituality doesn't remove the human parts of business. It asks you to meet them grounded, emotional, and honest. And isn't that a beautiful way to look at things? Thank you very much for watching and listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.